Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video I'll be talking about the OR function. OR function is a logical function that allows you to compare cell values and provide a true or false result. Now, what does the OR function do? The OR function returns true if any of the conditions are true and returns false if all conditions are false. I've done a video on AND function. This particular one is about the OR function. So let's go ahead. Now the criteria is here. This exercise is about students registration scenario. All right. So this column is about this column is student names. So I have student 1 to student 8. These are student names. And here is the column column heading exam, and these are the student scores. And here is the homework, and here is the marks for those students' homework. This particular column talks about register. So now this is the scenario, student registration scenario. Create an if-or formula to check whether a student is qualified to register according to the criteria below. Now the first criteria is if the student has passed the exam with 65% or higher, or if the student passed the homework 75% or higher, they may register for the next class. So any of those conditions has to be met for a student to move on to the next class. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a formula for this criteria. So to create my formula, I'll need to click on my formulas tab, the function library group. Now I have to hit the logical button and choose this particular one that says the if function. Remember, I'm talking about the OR formula, but I have to click on the if function. So I'll show you how this works. Now I've clicked on that and my function argument box appears. Dialog box appears. There are 3 boxes there. I'll take time to explain each of them. Now the first box there is logical test. So it's an OR function, so I have to start and type in the OR function, then open a bracket. Okay, showing that it's an if-or formula. So I go to the first condition there. If the student has passed the exam, this is an indication that I'm working with the exam column. So I'll click on that first cell with a number. If the student has passed the exam with 65% or higher, now 65% or higher in mathematical formula would be greater or equal to 65. So my formula there becomes greater or equal to 65. Now remember, I have another condition there. It says or if the student has passed the homework with 75% or higher. Okay, to add this condition I need to put my comma. Okay, so for you to add conditions in your logical test, you need to separate it with a comma. So to put in my second condition, if the student has passed the homework or higher, now the homework column is the one I need, so I'll click on it. Now my formula is greater or equal to 75. I don't need to put a percent, so 75 is fine. I can then close the bracket. I'm closing the bracket there because that is the last condition that I have. If I had more conditions, I'll go ahead and add comma like that until I finish up the conditions, but in this case I have just 2 conditions. Now this is what I want. I'll go ahead to the second box there that says value if true, meaning that if this logical test is true, what should happen? Remember, the scenario is, should a student register? Now, if this value or this condition is true, I'm gonna put a yes there, meaning if this condition is true, then the student should go ahead and register. The next box there is value if false, meaning if this condition is not met, what should happen? It means the student should not register, so I'm going to put a no there. Then that is my formula. I'll press the tab key. Now let's take a look at this section by the right hand side. It tells me that my condition or what I have calculated is correct. And why? Because there are no error sign with red color, meaning that what I did is correct. So I'll go ahead and click on the OK button. Now look here, the student 1 is a yes. Let's see why the student is a yes. Okay, so if I go to this part, student 1, the first criteria there is if the student has passed the exam with 65% or higher. Now the exam, this student doesn't have 65% in the exam. Now the second criteria says if the student has passed the homework with 75% or higher. Now criteria 2 was met. That's why that student can go ahead and do registration. Now this is correct, meaning that what I did is correct. So I'll go ahead, hold down the fill handle and autofill to this point. Okay, hold, drag and drag through. So there's something I want to show you, so you keep going. Another thing I like you to understand is you can autofill by just double clicking the fill handle there, so it runs through. So whichever one that is faster or better for you, you can use. Okay, so this is it. Let's see the student with a no and find out why it's a no. So this student 4 has 51 and 48, and can this student register? It says no. So let's see why it's a no. Alright, so the first criteria, if the student has passed the exam with 65% or higher. So this student doesn't have 65% in the exam, you can see that. And for the second criteria, homework, the student doesn't have up to 75%. So it means this student, which is student 4, so these criteria weren't met. That's why the student cannot progress or proceed. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, so this is how to work with the OR function in logical formula. Okay, so you can, if I click on the side, I'm sure you can see the formula here in the formula bar. If you look at that, some people can do this manually, but the formula, by using the dialog box, going through this section, is quite easy for you to understand and know what to put at each section. Okay, so here I'm going to use conditional formatting, alright, to highlight tests that contain yes. So it's easy to identify students who are to register. Alright, so I'm going to use conditional formatting. To apply conditional formatting, I have to select the particular column. Now go to my home tab. Here is the styles group. This is my conditional formatting. To highlight cells that contains the word yes with a red text, so I have to use highlight cells rules. Now from here I need to scroll down and find text that contains, so that's the one I want to use. So I'll click on it. Text that contains the word yes. So here I need to type in the word yes. Okay, so what should happen to those tests? With, so there are different conditions you can use here, either light red, fill with dark red text, but I want to use tests that contain yes should be colored in red text. Okay, so that is what I want and it's okay for me. So with this is what is called conditional formatting. With this, it's easier for me to just look at this table and see, okay, it's just one student that is not allowed to register. I hope this helped. Please remember to drop comments in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.